what? We're the fucking champ!
Gildas Alexander on the drive, pulls back, baseline, jumper's good! OKC with their first lead of the second half. Williams has been hot all night, falling away, got it! 40 points for Jalen Williams. 28 remaining, Holmgren down the lane! A Holmgren hammer, and it's back up to a dozen.
This is Udart, you're listening to The Uncontested.
What is up, and welcome to the Uncontested Podcast, coming to you live Sunday, September 28th, as we are about 14 hours away from Thunder Media Day starting, which is pretty cool. I'm your host for the evening, Jacob Niffen. I've got my friend Justin Peabody with me.
Hello, everybody.
We're brought to you by the Blue Wire Podcast Network and our friends over at Prairie Artisan Ales. Justin's got a crispy one. What are you drinking, Justin?
Crispy boy. We're getting in the fall season, even though it was still like 95 degrees today, with a caramel apple treat.
Very good.
Very good. It is.
We also have a Patreon if you'd like to join as the season is about to fire back up.
Yes, sir.
Get you access to bonus content and the Discord, which is always a fun place to hang. Tons of different channels in the Discord, mainly talking hoops, but tons of other stuff as well. So if you're interested in that, we'd encourage you to go join the Discord.
Right now, everybody's trying to figure out what colorway of the Shea Converse kicks that dropped this week, what colorway they're going to pick up. It's been a hot topic.
There you go. I saw they are also releasing some high top Chuck Taylors. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that too.
Okay.
Both of those come out this week. They've got the Chuck Taylors and the Converse Shays in the other colors. The family pack.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I like that, the family pack. Justin, am I missing any other plugs for tonight?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning into the podcast.
We just came to plug things and leave.
Absolutely. No. So Sam Presti had his beginning of the year press conference this past Tuesday. So I figured we could talk about that a little bit today in preparation of the player press conferences tomorrow, which should be really interesting. Typical Presti fashion. He talked for a little over 2 hours, I believe.
He's incredible.
Said a lot of crazy stuff. Used a lot of words a lot of people probably don't understand. Made comparisons and analogies that are probably way over our heads.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about it anyways.
We're going to do our best.
So Justin and I have pulled some quotes from Sam Presti, some of our favorites. I figured, Justin, that we can read a quote. We can kind of talk about it, dissect it a little bit, and kind of not only the quote, but the topic around the quote. And then at the end, we'll choose which quotes we think best kind of encapsulates the Thunder team heading into this next season.
Love it. I love what has become a tradition of Presti's monologue that he starts with. I mean, he just came out and talked for like 10 minutes to start this thing with a prepared statement. And the first thing out of his mouth was talking about how this is the 80th season in NBA history, and talked about the shot clock invention and the lanes being widened, and like just kept going and going. It was like a love letter to basketball, which was pretty cool. I'm not 100% sure where he was going with it, but it seemed like he was wanting everybody to kind of take a moment to appreciate what the Thunder just accomplished, and like the championship that this team just won and brought to Oklahoma City. The fact that Oklahoma City is in the NBA heading into their 18th season. It was really cool to hear him approach it from that angle, because I think we've seen the players get really candid on certain interviews. We've seen obviously the celebrations at the parade, like the clip at the beginning of our podcast intro. But I thought that was a really cool way for Sam, in a very Sam way, to kind of anchor us in the history of what was just accomplished.
Yeah.
Before immediately telling us we all needed to move on.
Typical Sam.
It's in very Presti fashion as well.
Typical Sam. All right. So speaking of turning the page, we want to start with
Indeed.
that quote.
That was your segue.
All right. So first quote from Presti. We have to voluntarily divorce ourselves from the success of last season. If we want to pursue excellence, we have to let go of last year and start again, turning every page, stacking every day with no guarantees.
I love it. We talked, I don't remember how long ago it was that we talked about this, but it's insane to look around the Thunder arena and see no signs of a Thunder championship basically anywhere. Like the banner on the Omni is gone. The billboard next to the arena says like ever onward or always onward. They've moved on as an organization, and it's the most Thunder thing ever to do so. Because, probably 29 other teams would still be tooting that horn much as they could. And as fans, if we ascribed to the Presti vision, we'd probably be changing our intro and removing the little Larry O.B. from the corner of our header. But I'm not going to do that.
That ain't happening, buddy.
That ain't happening until next year's finals are over and I add a second Larry O.B. to the header. But it's just the absolute quintessential Sam Presti and Thunder organization thing to treat it that way. And I think it's great. From a fan perspective, that's exactly what I want my team to do. That's how I want them to approach it. He talked multiple times about how winning a championship once is very, 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 very hard. And if we want to have the opportunity to do it again, you have to recognize all the things that had to go right. It's really easy to play revisionist history and look back and the Thunder were the best team all season. They had a historic record. They absolutely, obviously they won the championship. At no point in that run was it an obviously. At no point in the season is that a given. And I think as much as I think it's fair to have really high expectations for next season, it is still a good reminder that just because this team won a championship last year, returned everybody, should get better, should grow, that doesn't necessarily guarantee a championship either. There's still a lot that has to happen. Just because
A and B and C and D and E and F and G on why they should win it doesn't mean they should win it. I love it. No, you're absolutely right. And it's like playing a board game. You won the game.
Yeah.
Now you put the game in the box, and the next time you get it out, you're back at square zero.
Yeah. He had a banger analogy that actually got Chet's attention on Twitter, where he talked about how the NBA is not a chess game, it's a poker game. Because exactly what you just said, you don't actually kind of the opposite of what you just said. You don't just start over. It exists on a continuum. So every team, he goes, there are some teams that probably wish it just started over, but it exists on a continuum of everything that's happened before. And so it's much more like poker because not everybody's dealt the same hand. Certain teams have different advantages. They have different things going for them. And it creates a different environment, still strategic, but not a chess game. And I thought was such a Prestiism, but a really good analogy.
Yeah. It's a good one. It's a really good one.
Really good. Also, I want to shout out our guy, David Skelton, in the chat, dropping a super chat with we're back, fellas. We are so back. Never been back. Never been more back.
Never
and
been
Antoine
backer.
Willis, never been backer. Antoine Willis Jr. says, good evening, boys. New subscriber here. Hope y'all are blessed. Thanks,
Welcome, Antoine.
Next quote. This feels like it's a nice related rabbit hole to go down. When talking about moving on, he stressed the emphasis of process over outcome. So a couple quotes here that I marked down. One is, we're not looking to imitate ourselves or get tied down to what's worked in the past. We've never come into the season looking for a specific outcome. It's always been about improving and following process to improve.
So those are two quotes. Two separate quotes?
I don't know. That's how I put them in the document.
Okay. The not wanting to imitate last year is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
You would think you would just copy paste last year, but I mean, you didn't have Chet for large stretches last year. You were missing Hart for large stretches last year. You didn't have Caruso. You didn't have AJ Mitchell. Like, those guys are all going to play a role. And I think that's interesting that it's not like this is what we have to play with and we're going to show up and this is it.
Mm-hmm.
Is they're constantly trying to mold it.
Yep.
And they kind of see it more like Play-Doh and less like stone, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting. And you need incredibly versatile players to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think it's going to look pretty similar to last year.
I think it
like
is.
Play style and what they do.
I think it is in general, but I think he makes a really good point because you even brought it up. I think it was on last Sunday's show. You mentioned, nobody has more playoff tape on film from last year than the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I think there is a temptation as a defending champion to say we figured it out. We reached the mountaintop. We cracked the code, whatever analogy you want to insert there. Let's go do that again. And I think that becomes challenging. One, because teams are going to be preparing for that. Two, because I think it puts extra pressure on the outcome, which I feel like is kind of what he was trying to get at, is if you're chasing, if you say, okay, we did this last year, we're going to do it again, and for some reason you don't achieve the same outcome, like what if they come out and don't have the same win pace that they had last year? Now everybody starts to panic.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well, and we've talked about this before in the sense of what happens if they lose Game 7? The whole summer is like, who can they trade for? Who do they need to go get? What
do they need to fix?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's a razor's edge that gets lost when you look back through history. You don't ever capture that level of nuance. But I think if you open yourself up to the process side of it, it's about getting better every day. And I love, he said something also along the lines of it's easy to buy into because that's the same process we followed when we won 20 games. And they bought into it then. So why not buy into it now?
Yeah.
Right? If we were able to convince these guys that was the right way to go about these things when they won 20 games, it should be a lot easier to buy into that now. And I think, again, very, very Presti-esque, but I thought that was really good. I think definitely tampering expectations in terms of, trying to separate what happens next season from what happened last season and being really realistic about the objective of what it's like to repeat. He mentioned multiple times, it's really hard to win once. Like really, 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 really hard to win one title. So all this talk about can they run it back? There's a reason it hasn't happened a lot. So with that, let's play some Prairie Trivia, huh?
Okay, I like that.
That's my segue. Prairie Trivia, brought to you by our friends at Prairie Artisan Ales.
I'm not writing on the whiteboard since it's only me.
That's fair. New beer at Prairie this week is called Stout Season. No, it is Stout Season, so they dropped a stout called Word Salad. It is a 13% Imperial Stout made with chocolate turtle coffee. It's a lot. But if you'd like to sip on that while you play Prairie Trivia, maybe don't have too many of those, or you might not do great in trivia. But you can play Prairie Trivia.
Is that a lot of alcohol?
Every Sunday afternoon. It is quite a bit. Let's see. This caramel apple treat that I'm enjoying is, I don't know. I can't find it. What's on there? It's really hard to read. 5.5.
Oh, so it's over double.
Yeah. All right. So since Presti brought it up, we're going to look at what it takes to find success following a championship.
Okay.
So the first question, who was the last defending champion to advance past the second round the following playoffs?
Ooh.
JD actually mentioned this, and Presti brought up the same stat in his press conference, which I think means Sam Presti listens to the Uncontested.
There you
I
go.
think that's the only
JD
conclusion you
up.
can draw from that.
So let's see. Past the second round, so that means they're making the conference finals.
Correct.
So it's not Boston last year. It's not Denver the year before. I don't know who was before that because that gets too far back in the recesses of my brain. Dude, I don't know. I'm going to go with the Golden State Warriors.
That is correct. A safe guess.
Yes.
But the correct guess, Golden State lost in the finals in 2019 to the Toronto Raptors after winning the title in 2017 and 2018. So pushing for the three-peat, they made it back to the finals and then fell short. I believe, I don't have it in front of me. I should have, but it was Thunder, Boston, Denver, Golden State, Milwaukee, Lakers, Raptors, Warriors. So it's been 8 years. 8 years since it happened last.
Wow.
That's a long time. Like, that's not insignificant. And I think when Silva brought up that stat, we talked about, if the Thunder faced the Nuggets in the second round this year and lost, none of us would be surprised, but that would fit in that same bucket. And I think it's it's less of a critique on the teams that are winning the championship and more of a recognition of how tough the league is, and especially in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
So flip side, how many franchises have won multiple titles in a row?
Oh,
Total, like just every franchise that's ever existed.
every franchise that's ever existed that's at least gone back to back.
Correct.
Okay. The Lakers, the Bulls, the Dubs, Milwaukee, probably way back in the day. The Heat, I'm going to go 5.
That's a good guess. Milwaukee is not on the list.
Oh.
Everybody else you said was. The Celtics are a big one that you forgot.
Oh, yeah.
The Pistons.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay.
The Rockets.
Okay, I'm way off.
And that is it. The answer is 7. 7 teams have won multiple Seven franchises have won multiple titles in a row. Some of those teams have done it more than once, like the Lakers did it in LA and Minneapolis. The Celtics have done it multiple times. So now the question is, the Celtics hold the record for the most consecutive championships. How many did they win in a row and win?
Oh, brother.
This is getting into Mickey Redbottom era.
4 in a row in the 60s.
4 in a row in the 60s is close. You had the right era. The range of their repeat went from 1959 to 1966, amounting 8 titles in a row.
That's stupid.
Isn't that insane?
That's stupid.
Like, I knew it was a lot. I'm with you. Like, I didn't know the exact number, but 8 titles in a row is stupid.
That's dumb.
Stupid.
Dumb.
Stupid and dumb.
Stupid and dumb.
All right. That concludes Prairie Trivia, looking at repeat champions.
Let's get back into some more Presti quotes here. The next one. We've got a lot to learn about the team. When you think about it, Chet and Hart have only played about 20 games together. Chet himself played 32 games last year. Ajay Mitchell, 36 games. Topić hasn't played a game for the Thunder yet. So getting into the idea of how this season will look different due to roster construction, due to hopeful availability. Again, those games were Chet and Hart 20 games together, Chet himself 32, AJ 36, Topić 0. I think this one's interesting. The Chet one's the biggest one, and I think on a few different levels. Just you want to see Chet more the way he started the season, especially getting Chet back fully healthy.
Yep.
But the last time we saw Chet fully healthy, he really ran out of steam at the end of the season.
Yep.
So that's going to be an interesting thing, And then just the two bigs. We saw them start two bigs in the playoffs a lot, but then go solo big a lot.
Yep.
So what does that look like? That's going to be interesting.
I felt like the way he touched on that was really interesting. Just really talking about a willingness to explore. And he used, I think he used the word explore. He said experiment at first, and he was like, I don't like experiment. That feels reckless. It's very clear the roster exploration that they're doing is very real.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chet and Hart thing is a great example because he said, we easily could have settled into something multiple times last season with the way our lineup was constructed of, playing Chet at the 5. We could have sat there, but we didn't. We played around with a lot of different scenarios and a lot of different things. And unless you do that, you don't really know what you have.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think for me, as I was listening to him talk, where that took me was I think we're going to continue to see some weirdness, especially in that, like, just the middle dregs of the season, like we saw last year, where you get like, why is Mark playing this guy 20 minutes a night? And like the Thunder lost, like they don't care. They don't care because he's telling you the blueprint right here. It's process. It's get better. It's explore. It's all of those things. It's not about winning a meaningless game in February or December.
Let me ask you, because they're going to do that. They're going to explore.
Correct.
They're going to throw random guys out there.
Pull this clip for when the Discord melts down in mid-January.
The question is, give me a date over under for the Taylor crash out because they lose a game they shouldn't because of roster exploration.
Oh, I feel like Taylor, he's grown. He's grown a bit. I'm gonna go mid-March. I think it'll be on the home stretch before he starts like getting locked in. Now, Thunder Twitter collectively, I think is much sooner.
October 22nd.
I think that is it doesn't take reading between the lines. Like Presti came flat out and said it, where he told you exactly what's going to happen this year, and we're still going to have people that refuse to accept it and are falling into the traps of exactly what he outlined in his press conference.
Absolutely. I'll tell you one thing. I'm excited for Ajay Mitchell.
Yeah.
I've made that known on this show multiple times.
You have.
I think AJ is going to be good.
I agree. I think he'll be fun. I'm excited to see what Topić can do. I'm excited to see Chet. I'm excited to see all the pieces together. And Presti also had an interesting quote. He kind of the same thought, but he talked about when you think through the playoff rotation last year, of all the players that played in every playoff game, those players played a collective 11 games last year at the same time. Now, I'll admit, that quote confused me, but I did my best to follow it. And I think it's fascinating, right? It's another thing that I think kind of gets lost when you just sit back and look at like, well, yeah, obviously the Thunder won. They were the best team all year and they dominated in the playoffs as everyone thought they should. But that stat is kind of nuts when you actually pull back and think about it. This team that made that playoff run really hadn't ever played together in the regular season, not meaningfully. And I think, again, that for this next season is really exciting.
Yeah,
because that team, I mean, they won a championship. They did some awesome things in the playoffs. Let's go see what they can actually do through a regular season, because we didn't actually get to see that last year.
For sure. It's going to be fun. They're going to explore a bunch. I was going to ask, speaking of exploration, we mentioned Ajay Mitchell, who I'm excited for.
Yep.
We mentioned Nikola Topić, which we'll see. Like I'm interested. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Not being facetious in this at all. This is like a legitimate, like I want to have this discussion right now. Speaking of these guys and the idea of exploration, on a scale of 1 being wear street clothes and learn Chinese, buddy.
Okay.
To 10 being we're kind of force feeding 10 to 15 minutes a night.
Okay.
Where do you think we're going to see the exploration with Ousmane Dieng?
Oh, wow.
For the first till Christmas.
up till Christmas, I think you see it a lot.
You thinking
I
like
think
over
I'm
5?
closer. I'm closer to 10 than I am 1.
Wow. That's what you think they will do.
Correct.
What is your preference? What do you want them to do?
I'm not sold on Oos personally, and I don't. He would have to be incredible to.
I don't think he's
earn
gonna
a
get
long-term
there. I really
place.
want him to. I don't think he's going to get there.
I don't either, and I don't know. He would have to do something incredible in that stretch to earn that place, and that's just not typically how it works, right? Like, who's the last player that did that? That was just like meh forever, and then all of a sudden, in year 3 or 4, was like, wow, we can't get rid of him. Like, I can't think of anyone that did that. You see progression, and he's had some great moments, right? I don't mean to knock on the kid either. Like, G League Finals MVP is not nothing. But
he's also 22, almost 22 and a half.
Yep.
Which is very young.
Yep.
But NBA, like in the NBA, typically by that point, that's like your sink or swim point.
Exactly. And I think that as Thunder fans, we've seen this a little bit before. And I think that's where some of the conclusions can be drawn is you look at a guy like Poku.
Been burned too many times, buddy.
Exactly.
I've learned to keep my hand away from that stove.
Terrence Ferguson's another one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Super young. He had some great moments, right? Even in like at kind of the beginning part of a season.
Mm-hmm.
Like those first couple months, he had some really bright spots. But I think typically look at a guy like Lou Dort. Look at J-Dub. Look at Case and Wallace.
If they have it, you can see that they have it.
Bingo. That doesn't mean they're a star from day one, but you can see what they've got. And I think you kind of know what you're going to get. Unless he comes back and is just an absolute dog. I feel like that's his biggest thing, right? That's what we always talk about.
I just don't think he's going to. I mean, he didn't make the French national team. Like, I don't see it. I wish for him. I just don't see it.
Yep. And maybe it works out on another team, right?
Yeah.
And that's always a possibility too. What's the next quote we have here? We've got
I think it's my turn. You just read one.
Oh, okay.
Buddy,
yes, sir.
Slow down. Okay. We as a basketball team have to get better. We're all beginners again. A big part of our success has been our tolerance for our messiness and even the regression of pursuing progress and growth.
Read that next one too.
Yes, sir. It might be some regression, but that's all in an effort to see if we can improve the team. You don't come in and say, well, this is established.
I think
let me sum that up for you.
Yeah.
Progress isn't linear.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's such a deeply held belief within this organization to trust the process, so much so that like we touched on a little bit earlier, like it annoys the fan base at times because it is so staunchly tied to that. Presti kind of praised Mark Daignault around some of this when he was speaking about this a little bit, talking about how that's how Mark is wired. That's how Mark is thinking. He's not worried about the individual outcomes of a specific game. He's looking big picture all the time. Mm-hmm. And I think you see that with this team. You saw it in the playoffs, right? They would lose a heartbreaker and they were way more even keeled than we were, or the fan base was, right? Yeah. They're not panicking. Nothing rocks the boat because they're able to embrace the messiness and look at it on a growth scale. I think that's going to be harder to do this year than it's ever been before for them, probably. But I like the idea that you can regress and still be growing, because we've talked a lot about that, right? The expectations are sky high, as high as they could possibly be for this team next year. If they don't win 60 games, that doesn't mean they got worse.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they're a worse basketball team. If they don't win 50 games, that doesn't mean they got worse.
Slow down a little bit here.
Now, I don't think that'll happen, but that is how you get better. That is how you find out, again, going back to like the exploration comment, that's how you understand what you have. And with the new pieces and the lack of continuity that they've got with this roster, they have to do that, because what you don't want to do is just rest on your laurels and again, say like, well, this worked. We won the championship, so let's go just keep doing that. You absolutely, to your point earlier also, Jacob, like there is a lot that they do know, but it's less about like, we're going to run this lineup or we're going to run this play style. And it's more about the culture and continuity that they have with this roster that is what they're going to lean on more so than anything like X's and O's related, I think.
For sure. And it's also, like you mentioned, like figuring out what you have. You have to give guys an opportunity, you know?
Yep.
You don't give them one shot and then make your determination. You have to get a big enough sample size. So,
yep, I totally agree.
With that being said, what is going to be the 5-man lineup that causes all of Thunder fandom to crash out and be like, what are they doing?
I think it will be a closing time lineup that includes like either no big or maybe, well, I don't know. I could see them playing around with something that they go like aggressively super small, or they go, I was going to say 3 bigs, but that's not what I meant, but more like a really tall lineup that gets you like Chet and Hart and Kenny.
Okay.
Or something like that.
This is going to be the crash out lineup.
Yes,
Like,
correct.
Okay. See, I was going a different direction.
Okay.
I think there's going to be a game that the Thunder should win, or it's going to be like a competitive game.
Yeah.
And in the third quarter, you're going to see a lineup that's Ajay Mitchell, Nikola Topić, Brooks Barnhizer, Aaron Wiggins, and Jay Will.
Oh,
and
yeah,
that's
that's gross.
Like, what are they doing?
See, I think people are more okay with that. The reason I went to closing lineup is I think everybody has an idea of what they think the closing lineup should be.
Yeah.
Like, I think we all have players that are floating to our head right now. So anytime there's a, again, competitive game and they run out a lineup that doesn't look like that, people are going to be like, why aren't they playing Alex Caruso, Cason Wallace, Chet Holmgren, whoever you want to fill in the blank, whoever's popping into your brain for that. I think that's going to get people fired up. The mid third quarter stuff, like I think you can reasonably bet that that's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's the messy part of the game.
I'm getting totally off topic here, but I got to ask you another one.
Okay.
Let's assume opening night starting lineup is Shea, Dort, Dub, Chet, Hart. Okay.
Shea, Dort, Dub, Chet, Hart.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's just like kind of the if they're healthy penciled in, that's the starting 5 for this team.
Yeah. I think that.
Who is the next player that pushes for and the fan base gets to, maybe this guy should be starting? Can't keep him off the court.
I think it's probably Cason Wallace.
I think so too.
I think it's the Pacers discussion all over again.
I think we're on the same page.
Yep. And I do wonder, like, do they try that more in the season?
Mm-hmm.
Right? As a learning from the Pacers series, trotting that out in the finals is a bold choice. Maybe you play with that a little bit more.
Maybe do that in February.
Maybe.
That's an experiment for February, not June.
That is true, though. Like, that was the most unexpected move, even though everybody talked about it as an adjustment. This Thunder team had been so committed to continuity with the starting 5 for years, not just this season. I mean, obviously they had to change it because of injuries.
I mean, it took an act of Congress for them to pull Darius Baisley out of the starting lineup, brother.
Or Josh Giddey in the Mavericks series.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of been there. As much as they like to explore, they don't typically like to explore with their starting lineup.
Yep.
Maybe that changes.
Maybe.
I don't
That'd
know.
be fun.
Speaking of roster construction and the way this team is put together, Presti had some good quotes talking about the financial road ahead, which has been the hot topic of discussion for NBA Twitter since before they even won the title. The second apron has become just a blanket term that no one knows what they're saying, but they think that that's the boogeyman that's going to topple.
I'm going to start using that at school. Like, keep acting up. You're going to get in the second apron, buddy.
I am giving a free Halloween costume idea to anyone listening. Just a guy in a Thunder uniform wearing 2 aprons.
There you go. I love it.
If you do that, come to my house and I'll give you lots of candy or send me a picture. So Presti addressed the second apron, and he seemed almost like excited to do so. He said, "There's nothing relative to the second apron that would prohibit us from keeping anyone on our team." Print that on my tombstone. The rules themselves are not prohibitive to our ability to maintain the team. The challenge is obviously for every team that has a sufficient collection of talent is the finances that come with that. And he unpacked that a little bit more, talking about, we've had 3 years, if you count the play-in year, where we were a competitive team, 2 where we were a contending team, and they've not been a taxpayer. He said they don't anticipate to be a taxpayer this coming year unless something changes. And so that's a good window of being a championship contending team and not paying the tax. This team is ready and willing to do whatever needs to be done upcoming. And by the time any of the second apron penalties actually kick in, we'll be in a new CBA. And
I
who
think
knows what that looks like.
They can kick in, or they would kick in the CBA. They can vote to make a new one.
Yep.
It's like it's almost like the CBA has like a team option.
Yep.
They're kicking the CBA to the curb, buddy.
Yeah, they are.
Ain't nobody happy with this CBA.
Yeah. I feel like that's the undertone that no one's addressing is,
that's
if everybody hates it, it's gone probably, or at least looks drastically different.
There'll be new TV money at that point as well.
Yep.
So that'll all be interesting.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, we've been preaching on this show for years, or not years, year, singular, Justin. That what the second apron does is restricts your ability to sign free agents, restricts your ability to match in trades, freezes your own draft picks if you mess around long enough.
Yep.
Thunder aren't worried about any of those 3.
Correct.
The only reason they wouldn't keep their team together in the second apron is because the money gets too big.
Yeah.
But like your team just won the NBA title as a non-taxpayer.
Mm-hmm.
You pay the tax.
Yep.
Like,
absolutely. And it sounds like he's got full buy-in, which should not be surprising to anyone. If you're not going to pay the tax for this, then why even own a basketball team?
Yes.
But I also like he talked about this is something that they have been planning for years. This is like the discussions that happen with the ownership group is like, hey, if we ever have a championship contending team, then X, Y, and Z. And like, we're there now. So none of this should feel like a surprise.
Yep. They know exactly what they're doing. He's the best. I don't think it's a biased take to say Sam's the best in the business at what he does.
No. And now that he's got a ring to prove it, I'm not sure that you could. That was kind of the only thing before, right?
He's the best GM in the NBA.
Yep.
And I don't care about GM of the year. Like, GM of the year is who made the splashiest trade of the year.
Right.
He's the GOAT.
That's why he's the GOAT. It's awesome to hear, him kind of unpacking some of that stuff. He also talked about, this is something I don't feel like we had touched on much, is the financial advantages that are coming their way with the new TV deal. Mm-hmm. And he mentioned the new arena acting as a revenue driver in a couple of seasons. So when those 3 big contracts start to get really expensive, you should have some new money coming through the system. He also mentioned the potential for NBA expansion and potentially like European expansion.
Don't like the European idea.
Yeah. Those could be additional revenue streams as well. That again, kind of changes how you view those 3 contracts.
Absolutely. Mackenzie in the chat here has another Presti quote. Finance schminance. That's what I've always said.
Weird. I didn't have that one in my transcript.
Could you imagine if Presti fired that off?
That's what Steve Ballmer is saying to the allegations.
Yes. All right, our last quotes here. He says, I don't think talking about dynasties, we have so many, or I don't like talking about dynasties. We have so many things we have to get better at. In one sense, people are saying we're on the verge of a dynasty. And other people are saying we won't be able to keep the team together. So it's so dissident that you can't take either one seriously.
Yeah, I think this was a great Presti quote as well. He reiterated multiple times. It's so hard to win one that you just got to tap the brakes. It's obviously, it's very easy for us to talk about because what else, right? That's what we're here for.
Well, and that's what we talk about after every team wins, right?
Yeah. He actually said that. He was like, I think we do this every year. It's like
Austin wins it, and it's like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday.
Yep.
The next dynasty's here.
Yep.
And
to be fair,
the Warriors were.
If Jason Tatum's injury doesn't happen, maybe that is still part of the conversation.
Maybe. If the Thunder go back-to-back this year, do we call it a dynasty?
No, it's got to be more than two for a dynasty, but you are in, like we did in Prairie Trivia, you're in rare air at that point. First time in nearly a decade that's happened, and only the 8th franchise ever to join that club. I mean, that is
how many teams
historic
have
territory. Hold on, I have
Bulls,
that, actually.
Celtics.
It's actually a decent list of
Lakers,
three-peats. It was more than I expected. Where is it? It is Lakers, Bulls twice. Oh, Lakers twice and Bulls twice. Never mind. So the list is small, but they both did it twice. Lakers did it in Minneapolis and LA. The Bulls did it twice, both in the 90s. Boston, I guess, technically did it because they won 8 in a row. So they won 8 in a row twice in a row, plus 2 more. Yeah, it's a small list.
Yeah. Can't get ahead of ourselves. We haven't even started season 2 yet. But
absolutely not. But it is kind of crazy that since the 2000s, it's kind of happened. It's happened 3 times. You had the Lakers in 2009, 2010, the Heat 2012, 2013, and the Warriors 2017, 2018. It's pretty frequent. Actually, if you trace it back, let me go back a little further, like to the 80s. You had the Lakers do it in 87, 88, the Pistons in 89, 90. So that was 4 straight years of 2 teams going back to back. Then you had the Rockets in 94, 95, the Bulls with 2 three-peats on either side of that. So like there was definitely a switch in the late 80s with the Lakers that kind of set off a firestorm of multiple teams winning.
Rockets sure were thankful that Jordan went to play baseball for a little
bit. Correct. They filled that gap very nicely. We have a nice super chat that just popped in from our guy, Alan McIntosh, saying, what's up, guys? Just dropping in to say hey from New Jersey. Also got my tickets for March 15th versus Minnesota.
That'll be a fun one.
Little Western Conference Finals rematch.
Don't think it's going to be Western Conference Finals again this year.
No, probably not.
I'd
be surprised.
How good Minnesota is.
I'd probably be surprised.
Yep.
I loved Presti kind of, this was, I don't remember where this was in his talk, but I loved him kind of addressing the dynasty talk. And I loved him calling out the like wavering of the narrative, because I hadn't thought about it through that exact lens of like, in one second it's this team's the dynasty, and in the other it was like, well, they're not going to be able to keep their team together. They have too many draft picks. They're too young. They're too inexperienced. And then it's like, well, of course they won. Now it was obvious they were going to win. They were so good. They're a dynasty. That is the discourse TM in a nutshell. we're a part of that discourse. We're the problem.
Absolutely. We're the perpetuators.
We're the problem.
All right,
But
Justin, if you
it's
had to pick
fascinating.
one quote that we've talked about tonight that just intrigues you the most going into the season, which one would you choose?
That's a great question. I think I'm going to go back to the regression quote because I think it has the potential to make the most people upset.
Okay.
That there might be some regression, but that's all in an effort to see if we can improve the team. I think there is a lot of people who probably didn't hear Sam Presti say that are going to be real upset if it feels like this team is experiencing regression based on what they accomplished last season, how little turnover they had, and what their expectations are for the next season.
Mine's got to be, we've got a lot to learn about the team when you think about it. Chet, Hart have only played 20 games together. Chet 32, Ajay 36. Topić hasn't played yet. That one is kind of the flip side, the inverse from yours. Yours was kind of like, hey, we're going to mess around a little bit. We're going to just play see what
not
happens.
mess around. We're going to explore.
There
Jacob.
you go. Explore. Or the one that I just read for me is like, but we're pretty good, and these guys have barely played, so just wait until that happens.
Part of the exploration is just playing
Chet.
4 players, right?
Let's explore with Chet Holmgren.
That would be a good TV show. Explore with Chet Holmgren.
Yeah.
Presti had a good quote about Chet. Let me see if I can find it real quick. He was talking about Chet's mentality. He said, for Chet to be able to ramp up in the playoffs was impressive given the time off that he had. But then he talked about the way he approaches things. And he said he's extremely ambitious, but he never gets into agenda. So he said his instincts to drive his winning are unique. He said, we always want ambitious players, but you don't want that ambition to bleed into an agenda. I thought that was a really cool quote. Yeah. He definitely, I think you've described just like the swagger, right?
He's a dog that wants to be part of the pack.
Oh, that's good.
I know.
Did you just make that up?
I did.
That's good.
It is good. I'm proud of myself right now.
I like it. Yeah. That's a great way to put it. Like he wants to go do great things, but not at the expense of the team. And I think if he maintains that, then why wouldn't you want that on your team? And I'm excited to see what that looks like for him this season.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So my favorite quote of the night is, he's a dog that wants to be part of the pack.
Sam Presti.
Sam Presti.
We'll sneak that in next year, maybe.
Sounds good. I think that's going to do it for us, Justin.
I'm excited. Media Day tomorrow.
Yeah.
We are so back.
Hopefully we learn something new. So we'll be back with you guys later in the week to break down Media Day, but enjoy the beginning of your week. Enjoy the beginning of October.
Weird.
I know, it's crazy. It's flown by. We will see you guys next time. Until then, and as always, thunder up.